Hello, my MOPS Mama friends. This is Amanda coming to you to show you our little birdseed feeder craft that we are going to make. We have supplied you with all of the things that you will need in order to make this craft and given them to you with your welcome bags. So I'm just going to show you real quick how to put all of this together. You should have received in your welcome bag the jar of birdseed here. So you got 1 cup of birdseed in this jar. You also have a packet of unflavored gelatin. There is 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin, so that's about, I think, like 7 ounces, which is usually about 1 pack if you get just the packs of unflavored gelatin. But they didn't have that available, so I had to make my own packs here. Also in your little goodie bag, you should have some pieces of twine. You have 2 pieces of twine. And then you also have an extra lid. There's enough birdseed that you should be able to make 2 feeders. You may even have a little bit left over at the end, so you could even use a cookie cutter that you have on hand if you want to make a different shape, if you have some extra twine to put that in. Either way is fine, or just discard whatever you have left over if there's any left over. The other piece that you have in your little gift bag is a little instruction card on the birdseed feeders. It just has the recipe, so if you ever want to recreate this in the future, you can do that. And then on the back just has some basic instructions on what to do. And then, so we're looking at a final product here that would look something similar to this. I used some different string material that I had, so I didn't waste the twine, so I could use it for this video. But I wanted to be able to show a finished product of what we were trying to create. So I left the ends here untied. Totally up to you depending on where you're thinking about hanging it. You could pre-tie it and actually put the knot into the lid portion here so that it gets stuck in with the birdseed, or you can leave it untied. That way you can tie it onto whatever branch or wherever you're going to put it for the birds. If you wanted to pre-tie it, that would be for if you had somewhere where you could easily like slip it onto. So this is what we're going for. So our first step is to take our unflavored gelatin. I have a little dish here. I'm going to pour my gelatin into there. Our next step is that I have a 1/4 cup of hot boiling water that I'm going to pour on top of my gelatin here. And then I'm going to quickly mix all of this up and get that gelatin to completely dissolve in the water. Once that is all dissolved, you're going to take your jar of birdseed, open it up, and you're just going to dump that into your gelatin mixture. Give that a good, nice stir. Make sure all the birdseed is coated with the gelatin. So the thing that we just love so much about doing this craft idea, besides it being a very simple thing to be able to distribute to everyone, it's also just so easy and fun to be able to do with your kids. The kids will have fun just dumping the birdseed into the mixture, stirring it all up. Very simple, easy project to do, and then they'll have lots of fun looking out the window, seeing the birds and probably some squirrels as well, coming to munch on these feeders. So we are done with the jar. Now you have 2 lids here. 2 things that you can do. You could make 2 separate feeders to put your twine into. Like I said, you could tie it up beforehand, or you can leave it untied and just match up the ends here, and then have this ready to go to put the birdseed in. The other thing I thought about doing too, which I thought might be a neat idea depending on what you want to do, is to actually have both feeders tied together. So you could tie a knot and have both of them on the same loop here, dangling down. So you would just tie this twine to the end of the top. You'd have to wrap it around just to get it to stay in one spot, and then tie a knot to it. And then you would be able to secure that in with the birdseed, and then have this top loop here be the top that goes on to, that ties onto wherever you're tying it to, the tree, or maybe you have a hook on your porch or something that you're going to tie it to. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try this method of having 2 of them dangling together. So I'm just going to tie this around here real quick. And give it at least 2 good knots here. Secure it together. All right. So now that is secured together, and you can see this is hanging off. And please excuse my cat. I was wondering when she would jump up. So then this piece of twine here, get this other one out of the way for a sec, is now wrapped around. Excuse me a sec. And this will just get pushed into the lid here, and will get covered up with the birdseed. Will be held together that way. So then what else you're going to need is some parchment paper. Wax paper would work as well. Probably even saran wrap if you don't have parchment paper or wax paper. I'm using just a small cutting board. You could use a cookie sheet, just something solid underneath to lay it on top of, and so you can just place up and out of the way. This is because there is some drying time involved in this, so you're going to have to let it sit for a day. They recommend that you let it sit for at least 24 hours. So after you put this together, you're going to want to let this sit. And about like halfway through the drying time, you're going to want to flip it over. So I had this laying faced this way because I filled the lid. And then about halfway through its drying time, I flipped it over onto this side just so that the underside gets some air to it, and it can dry completely through. And I did want to show you, so when it's drying, so there is some excess that will come off that kind of spills out from the underneath, and it's just like all attached with the gelatin here. That's stuff that you can just peel away to make it the edges look nice once it's all dried together. All right, so what I'm going to do here is lay this out. That. All right, so I'm going to lay put my other twine here. And I am leaving my ends open just because I don't have a good spot to really slip it on anywhere. All right. All right, so our next step then is to take our nice birdseed mixture here. It's very watery and kind of like very soupy-like right now, but as it starts drying, it really hardens nicely together. So let me start scooping all of this in to the mixture here. Use the spoon to kind of push it down, and then once you kind of get it all in to the lid, you can also take a little piece of extra wax paper, parchment paper, or whatever you have, and I like to use that to help push it down. If you use your bare fingers, you're going to get birdseed and gelatin all stuck to you, so it's just easier to use that. Let me try and get this twine into here so it doesn't stick out. Get that all nice and pushed in. And you can pile this up a little bit on this side. Give it a little bit more of like a rounded edge. It doesn't have to be completely flat because it will all dry together, and it'll give something a little bit for the birds to nibble at. So I'm actually got some extra birdseed here, so I'm just gonna puff these up a little bit. Kind of build it up, and again, it really doesn't matter if I'm making a little bit of a mess here on my parchment paper, but that's all right. Like I said, if you have like maybe like a nice cookie cutter shape at home, you could even have enough actually extra left over, and if you have some ribbon or other string at home, you could use, you don't have to use twine, of course, but you can use something, whatever you have at home if you do, and you could actually make a third one out of a cookie cutter that you have at home, or if you have another mason jar lid lying around at home that you're not using, you could make a third one. All right, so that is our birdseed feeders, and I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to take my wax paper here, parchment paper, and just kind of shape these up a little bit. All right, so those will need about a day to dry. And so your jar here, little something extra left over for you to be able to use for whatever you would like. One thing that I saw, which I thought would be cool to pass along to you, is that you could actually use this to make into a hummingbird feeder if you would like. So basically you can use this lid here, or you could use heavy duty construction paper in the same size as this lid. Punch some holes into it to put on top of the lid here. If you happen to have extra ribbon and twine, you wrap it around this top portion here and glue it on. And then a couple things that you could do, you could either glue the lid to the jar. In that case, you would need to use a funnel then to be able to fill up the jar through one of the holes. Or you could, if you have another ring at home, then you could secure down with the ring and then wrap your twine around, and then you take your twine and you would need a couple of pieces of twine so that you get at least 3 or 4 anchors evenly around, and that would come up over your jar. And that you could hang. So you could actually make a hummingbird feeder out of this if you would like to do something a little bit extra. There's some great pages off of Pinterest that I was looking at. Easy to do, so you could just quickly look them up on Pinterest to do. And as far as you could buy the hummingbird nectar, or you could actually make your own. It's just sugar water, so 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. They recommend that you use pure cane sugar. That way it's safer for the birds. And they say, you know, nothing, no brown sugar, no organic, anything like that. And so if you're looking at, you know, this is a cup in the jar, so you would do a 1/4 cup of sugar to the cup of water, or you could make it that you create 1 cup of sugar to 4 cups of water, and then you'd have some extra nectar laying around so that you can refill it once it gets low. So I thought that was kind of a neat idea to be able to use the jar for. Again, you can just use it for whatever you need. If you just wanted to use it for pen storage or whatever you want to do with your jar. But that was just a leftover piece that I thought was interesting to try and find something to use it for. All right, ladies, I hope you enjoy this craft with your kids. One other thing that I did read with making these birdseed feeders is that we want to wait to put them outside until it gets a little bit cooler out. I think we're starting to get to that point where it's going to be cool enough outside. Just probably wait until it stops being like pretty hot 80-degree days. So you can certainly go ahead and make these with your kiddos, but I would wait to put them outside until it's a little bit cooler. The reason they say that is because if it's too warm outside, the gelatin could get soft and then the birdseed could end up falling out of it. So you just want to wait till it's maybe just a little bit cooler outside to put them outside for the birds to enjoy. But I just wanted to share that little tidbit as well. So anyways, I hope that you enjoy doing something fun with the kiddos. Again, this was really quick and easy, so it's not even a long project to do, just something nice and quick to do, and something fun for you and the kids to enjoy watching and seeing the different kinds of birds that are going to come and eat your food. We will also be sharing a link with the first MOPS meeting. And that link is going to have a list of the birds of New Jersey. So something that you can download and print out yourself and just hang up and have your kids be able to refer to it and see if they can spot the different kinds of birds that may come and eat the bird feed. All right. I hope to see you all soon, and enjoy making your bird feeders. Bye-bye.